are on to round 28. 28 can be a tricky round in terms of where to place the overlay stitches because there are no obvious landmarks we're going into, so we're just going to have to count stitches to find the one we want to use. Now the first one can be the trickiest, but after that the repeats tend to be a lot easier. So everything is sort of dependent on this very first one for us getting that one first overlay stitch in the right position. Everything else works off of that. So to start, we need an increase from the previous round. We're going to start in the first stitch in the increase and then do 4 single crochet. Remember, back loop only, and the chain counts as the first single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I forgot to say it, but obviously you can see right here we're using the dark blue yarn that we used before. So joining that in the first stitch in an increase, we have 4 single crochet. Now comes our first overlay stitch. It's going to be a double treble, so we're going to yarn over 3 times, but we are going to actually go back into one of these stitches over here, the white camel stitches from before. So to find which one we're going into, because we don't really have a very good landmark for it, we're going to start at the next stitch we have here, work our way down, and then count back. So this is the next stitch. If you follow it down, here's the pink one that came before it. Follow it down, here's the purple one that came before that, and here's the white one that was before that. So this is the one we're going to work back from. From here, we want the 3rd stitch in front of it. So 1, 2, 3. This stitch right here, which I'm going to pull out just a little bit so that I can see it, that's the stitch that we want to work our overlay stitch into. So coming back up here, putting the hook back on, yarn over 3 times. Again, look down from the stitches, work your way down to the white camel stitches, and then pick the 1, 3 in front of that. So we're going to come into this stitch from the bottom to the top, and then work our double treble. There we go. So that is the first overlay stitch, and like I said, everything else pretty much works off of this one. We're just going to be counting over white stitches. We're going to skip the green, the yellow one that comes next, because this is going to count as the stitch, and we want 15 single crochet. This is my 5th one here. This is 10, 5 more. And here's our 15th stitch. Let me just check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 stitches. Okay, so now we're going to do another double treble overlay stitch, and we want it to go into the 20th stitch before here. So instead of counting down and over, all we have to do is count over the white stitches, count 20 over, and that's what we're going to work into. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, look at that, 20. I was right on it. Let me check that again just because I was surprised. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's it there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it loose a little bit just so that I can see it again. And we're going to do a double treble, so yarn over 3 times into that stitch right there. I'm not quite done with the round, but that is the last overlay for the round. After this, we are not going to skip the stitch. That's going to give us our increase here, and we're going to do 5 more single crochet. So starting with the very next stitch, skipping nothing, we have 5 more. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's it for the repeat. Now, as I said, this first one is the hardest one to get the correct placement for this overlay stitch. From now on, it's actually a little easier because we can work off of this guy. So I'm going to start the next repeat with you so that you can see where to go. As you recall, our repeat should start in the first stitch of an increase, which it does right here. We start with 4 single crochet. Now, if we work down from our previous, or from our next stitch, we don't want the yellow, the pink, or the magenta. We're going to go from this white one and go 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead. But if you look, you notice that's just 1 stitch in front of this guy. So from all the rounds from now on, you don't have to do this down and over routine. All you have to do is go ahead and put your overlay stitch not into the next stitch, but the one after that. So you skip a white and go into the one after that, and that's where your first one goes. Then to continue, you skip 1 and you start your 15 stitches here. After your 15 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you are going to have to count over 20 to place the overlay stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is the one I want right here. So you do the overlay stitch, finish out the repeat, don't skip anything, and do 5 single crochet. One more time just to see where this first stitch goes. I'm just going to start the next repeat for you again. Notice we are at an increase, so we're at the right place. You want 4 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now this one, we don't have to count or do anything weird coming down. All we know, or all we want to do is do a double treble into the one here. So we're going to look at where the previous overlay is, skip one, and do the next overlay into the one before that. So overlay 3 times, skip this white one, go into the next one, and then just continue the pattern from there. So like I said, the first one of the whole thing is the most difficult to place. After that, you just count over white stitches, which makes it a lot easier. So coming back here to the beginning, our very first repeat, we'll go through it quickly one more time. You join in the first stitch of an increase, 4 single crochet. Then you're going to do your double treble front post by coming down to the white round and looking for the 3rd stitch before that. So we come down, 1, 2, 3. That's the stitch we go into. Everything else is based off of that. To finish the repeat, you skip 1, do 15 single crochet, do a double treble into the stitch that's 20 before here, so count over 20. That's the one you go into. Do not skip a stitch. Do 5 single crochet to finish out the round. So 4 double treble, skip, 15 double treble, don't skip, 5. That's the repeat all the way around, and then from this point on everything really builds off of these, so you don't have quite so many weird counting rows. I just wanted to make one more comment about round 28 before I finished it out. When you're at your very last repeat, you notice here I've only got a few stitches. I did the overlay here, 15 single crochet. Now I'm set for my other overlay. What's really important, I'm going to count over the 20, but you want to make sure that you have one of these camel stitches, these white camel stitches, in between the 2 blue overlay stitches, because we're going to need that stitch later on. So when I count over my 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you notice that I'm right here, which will let me do my overlay stitch, have a blank one before the next overlay stitch. That's how you know you're correct. And you want to make sure, no matter what else you get, that you have these single spaces in between all of the overlay stitches, because we do need to use those for the next round. So even if you're, say, one off, I would say just go ahead and do this last overlay in the stitch with the skipping the gap here. Otherwise, if you're really off, you'll need to go back and check your count. Some of the other rounds you must have been off a little bit. So again, it's just really important when we do this last overlay that there is an empty or a blank white camel stitch between the last one of this repeat and the very first one that we did. We need that stitch right there.